Hi, I'm Lou. Welcome to my LouTube. This is Rob, and today we are at the Lee Valley Velopark for a very special little sneak peek into the London 3-day events, which are later this year on October the 31st for 3 days. And today we're going to find out more about it. Let's head inside. Just going to get changed now because our first thing we're doing is going to ride the Velodrome. I'm also very excited to let you know. I finally met Amy, as in Amy's Cycling Adventures. Now we're Pink Bike crew. We were destined to meet. And so we're going to be riding on the track together shortly with Bradley Wiggins. Okay, kitted up. Pretty nervous. Riding on the Velodrome is terrifying. It's a lot of fun, but it's terrifying, and I get the driest mouth in the world. So I'm going to do some preemptive water gulping and put my big girl pants on. So we've been briefed. We have the track. There's basically 3 of us with Bradley. Track to ourselves. So it's like getting to play basketball with Shaquille O'Neal. It's the coolest. We're going to get our bikes sorted now, get coached and get on the track. I've done it before. I did a Bentley advert a few years ago. That was the last time I was on the track, and I've done a couple of sessions here. So I'm not completely new, but I am completely terrible because of the fear and the voices that I have. So I'm looking forward to, oh no, we're signing disclaimers.
It's the voice that you should listen to.
I can do it. And it should be fun. Rob will be filming while we're going around and stuff.
Rob,
Yes.
Can I give you some more?
Yeah.
Safety signing.
File. So quick
Have you
video.
got minutes? We generally ask you to ride next to you. No.
So I've been given some mitts. I never wear mitts, but I've been told I shouldn't have them on. I just get really hot hands. I've got shoes. I didn't bother bringing my own because I knew they'd be different cleats, so I'm ready to get my bike. Yeah. Because it's fixed. I can't just spin the pedals around, you have to actually move the bike.
Yeah.
And these are not the cleats I use, so I can't even clip in, so I'm basically new. Can you come and stand nearby in case I fall?
Yes, but I had to stop filming you getting prepped with the coach because Bradley came over and started talking to me. So I was like, uh-oh, I got to talk to this
Your
guy.
friend?
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Have thumb behind the top, and then if you try and get thumb behind. If you ride like this, we're worried you're going to slide off. Your toes overlap the front wheel, so when you're clipped in, you're actually sort of unable to do too much of that, but you only steer on the flat. Once you're on the track, the bike just sits straight and it goes around the corner, and that's why it's a steep angle. Okay? Saddle height, it's good to have it nice and high. I think we've done that. Fixed wheel, keep pedaling. Yeah? Ready? Big pull. It won't matter. You won't catch it. Just really go on. Big pull.
Go on, Lou.
So give it a big pull. Put your head right out. Strong pull. Big pull. Come on. So slow. A bit of speed. Come on. Okay. Get up. Do more. Yeah?
You've got to go.
I'm not doing it.
No,
I
go
can't
on.
do it.
Go on. Keep pushing.
Yeah, well done. Keep going. Amazing. Well,
Oh my God. My eyes were streaming, but my mouth was so dry.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I'm sure you could have done plenty more. I just wanted to bring you off so you can have a
That was
breather.
good. That was good. It gets so thirsty.
Yeah, you do work
And
quite
it's
hard the
tiring.
first time. Yeah.
There's no rest.
you get keeping a reasonable pace, so you picked up the pace quite quickly. But if you keep a reasonable pace, it's sort of your rest. Yeah, no, but that's good because it gave you confidence. So you know how to do it.
Oh, she's going for it.
Oh, push, Mom, push.
Yeah. Good on her.
That's when you said you got to that blue line. I was like, that's really steep.
Look, I think basically, unless they're really hard.
Yay! Yes, Amy!
If anything's going wrong, you're going to go that way.
She's doing it.
Up you go.
It's just so tiring.
What is?
Having the driest mouth in the world and fearing for your life.
This is my delivery
I slipped.
service.
Hang on.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see, when I was on one of the advertising board, I felt the wheels start to go and I just went, oh God.
Oh. The video will have caught it if so, but I was trying not to turn around like he asked me to stay focused this way.
I felt it start to go and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I obviously had taken a bit too much speed off by going up high, felt it and I was like, oh my, but it's just, I mean, I'm fit from cycling and this is different because it's just pedaling the whole time. She's doing so well. Amy was saying that she wasn't going to go outside of the light blue and she's flying. But it's just, for her, she's the same as me with the voices and confidence and stuff. And when you've got the velodrome to yourself, then no one else is in your way, so you really can go the speed you want to go. And that definitely helps. So she's doing brilliantly. I'll introduce you to her. You all know who she is anyway, but she's got an amazing trip coming up for the Tour de France. She's riding every stage of the men's tour, including all the transfers. So she's very keen to not get injured, so she's super brave doing what she's doing today.
Don't worry, I'll talk you through it. Just stay on my wheel and follow me.
So the idea is you're doing as fast as you can from that white line over there around to the finish line.
No.
I've seen you
And I'll lead you out. And when I hit that line, I'll just swing up and you carry on round with the black.
on the black.
Yeah. But I'll lead you in. So follow my line to lead in. And then
So follow him to pick up the speed, and then he'll say go now, and then we'll time you.
take a few laps to get up. We don't just go straight up. You'll be alright. You'll be alright. Come on. That's what you're here for.
This is the worst bit down here.
Wait till you get to the top.
She can do it?
You can do it.
This is allowed.
Never mind voices. Come on. You can do this.
Roundabout, do lots of chat.
You can do it. Just put it this way, if you do it, you'll probably be the only one out of this lot that do it.
Why?
Because no one else wants to do it.
Why? Hang on, I didn't know there was a choice.
There is a choice, yeah.
So I don't have to do it?
But you are doing it. You've been nominated by your followers.
Go on, babe.
All the way to the finish now.
Let's lose race lap there. Well done, babe.
It only took me 16 hours to get round.
Oh, is that all? You got the thumbs up there.
Oh my God. I was getting tired. I was like, I need to go soon because otherwise I'm going to have nothing left.
He was sitting up.
I was meant
Toward
to
the-
keep his wheel and I was like, shit, I'm starting to go faster. I was like, I'm below you.
Yeah.
I want to go faster because I'm so worried about falling. And I'm like, he's staying up and he knows what he's doing, but I need to go faster. You make it look fun. Yes, Amy! You're doing it! You're doing it! You went above the blue! So I think I'm done on the track. I didn't go above the white advertising boards today. I was part way on them and had a little bit of a slip maybe, but didn't fall off, just wobble, and that got my confidence a bit. I've had an amazing time. I got led out by Sir Bradley Wiggins, did a flying lap, so I'm good. I don't need to go out and do above the boards today. I will be back another time, so that leaves me something to conquer for next time. So I'm going to get out of kit now and enjoy some delicious lunch that's being set up over there, and a Q&A session, I think. Hello. Let's do a quick tray of sandwiches each, maybe. Rob? Rob's going straight into...
You know where I start, yeah. I'm just going to pick it up with my fingers.
Yes, we're all getting excited.
Man, and you've got him for the next 20 minutes to ask him whatever you want. So, on your
so when we were growing up, when I was growing up, we didn't have an indoor velodrome. There's a lot of outdoor velodromes, Herne Hill, Reading, Welling. And I went to ride Leicester when I was 14 because the British Championships were on there. And I went to do a session a few months before it because just to get on the track, I couldn't be competitive unless I could ride the bank track. And funny enough, the story with it, there was a woman called Jackie Harris, who was a British sprinter, who's married to Phil Griffiths, who brings Penarello in, etc. She helped me get on the track, and I still remind her to this day, without her I would never have got on the track. Really? So she took me around on the black line, I went up, I was skipping off a bit, and I was really slipping, and she couldn't understand why I was slipping. So we come off the track, she said, it's easy, you're just feeling like you're slipping, but you're not actually slipping. So I went up again, and I actually slipped, come down the straight. So she came up, she looked at and my mum used to put boot polish on my tyres to make them look black. Yeah, and so she scraped all this boot polish off my tyres, and I got back on the track and I was fine, and I was away. And I rode the British Championships, did okay, but I had another year as a juvenile, and I came back the following year and I won the British title. So yeah, I did have those voices, but it was a contribution of boot polish also.
What was your favourite type of racing when you were growing up? And then did it change as you got older?
Madison. The Madison, what I fell in love with cycling with. You know, my heroes when I was growing up were Madison riders. And that stemmed, my dad was a professional cyclist. My dad was European Madison champion with Tony Doyle. He won the Bremen 6-day, and so I grew up knowing and being told all about 6-day racing and what it was about, and the Madison in particular. And from my earliest age, all I wanted to do was emulate my dad and become a 6-day rider and ride the Madison. And it's an event that's always been close to my heart. I can remember riding my first Ghent 6-day when I was 19 and just felt born to do it. I went on to win the world title twice with Mark Cavendish in that event. My son's junior world champion in it 2 years ago in that event. He'll be riding the 3-day this year. So it's an event that even now it's still my favourite event to watch. Because there's so much going on. There's so much to riding a Madison. There's so much that both riders have to contribute to the race. Best Madison pairings have a telepathy between them where you don't have to say much, or you can just tell when you come into change. You can tell how fatigued your partner is just by the strength of their hand. Little things like
is
that.
this a change where we need a hard change or an easy change? Is there a sprint coming up?
And when I was riding with Cav quite a lot, obviously Cav would do the sprints. So the points that are on offer every 20 laps, Cav would do those. So we'd time him so we'd get him in for 2 laps to go so he could be competitive in those sprints. So I would do the bulk of the donkey work. So I would then tell Cav to stay out next change. So I'd be thinking 2 changes ahead. So I'd come in and say, Cav, you rest next one. So I'd do a double turn. And then we constantly look at the lap board, constantly looking where he is on the track. You can never take your eyes off the race in a 6-day race, which is strange because there's so much going on in the middle and on the outside of the track during it that sometimes your tendency is to want to see what's going on in the middle. But it's so, you have to be so concentrated, so focused, and so aware of where your partner is in the race. And not just that, you need to be looking at the lap board as well, or the scoreboard, to see what other teams are on laps, and because there's so much going on.
And if you're resting, you're a lap ahead of your partner because they're catching you up. So it's no good. You've got to think about the sprint and where that is. And one thing Brad hasn't said is that 6-day riders, if you go back to the 1920s, 6-day riders were the highest paid sportsmen in the world, above baseball and everything else. They were literally like legends walking the planet and got an awful lot of money. And they would ride 14, 15, 16 6 days in the winter. They would literally go from one to the other and made an awful lot of money in the winter.
And obviously how 6-day racing started, the reason it's called the Madison was because the first ever 6-day race was in Madison Square Garden.
That's so cool.
And at that time, in the first one, when they did, you would ride for 6 days straight, which is why you had two riders. So while you were resting, your pair would be going round, and you change. So then, obviously now it's condensed into a 45-minute chase or an hour, but they would race for 6 days straight, which is why you had two riders.
24 hours a day.
I did 10 minutes. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, and that's why when you come to the 3-day, you'll see that the riders have cabins, and they've evolved over the years. But the cabins were for the riders to sleep in.
Right.
They'd sleep in there, they'd shave in there, they'd wash in there. Yeah.
Have a lie down.
So it's great that we still got this sort of this event from what was a cultural phenomenon in cycling terms.
Yeah.
And it's slowly over the years it's been dying off. But even 20 years ago, it was almost a national sport in its own right in Germany, and it was huge. And the people that rode it were national heroes. And you know, when I rode Munich in the late 90s, David Hasselhoff came and played live in the track centre.
What?
Because he'd famously sang on the Berlin Wall when they knocked that down, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And just things like that. It was.
Rod Stewart used to sing at the London 6-day.
Yeah.
When it was at Earls Court and Wembley, they used to have Rod Stewart one.
Harry Styles is doing this year's London 3-day.
Promise.
He's yet to confirm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Asterix.
Yes. Disclaimer. Why do you think it has dropped? Like, why is it not as big?
Sport's changed, hasn't it? The way we
Okay.
can consume sport has changed. You know,
Okay.
athletics meets aren't like they used to be as well. You know, it's
Cricket.
everything's changed.
Yeah.
You've got 2020 cricket now. You know, it's
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of your fault. It's the YouTube generation's fault that everything has to be in small, digestible,
Yes.
bite-sized stuff.
Yeah.
That no one wants to go and watch Test cricket.
And one of the other reasons is as big as road cycling has become, and the the commercialization of that, and so higher salaries. You know, riders like Tadej Pogačar are now getting paid 8-9 million. You know, in the winter, the riders like Eddie Merckx, Tommy Simpson, this is where they would make most of their money because they wouldn't get paid a lot on the road. So they would come and they would be the stars of the 6-day scene and take away 15-20 grand per 6-day, and that was where they earned the bulk of their money. Now it's not worth them coming to ride for that sort of money. So, you know, and London 3-day organisers, etc., can't simply make it worth their while to come. So it's you know, as that pendulum has swung in favour of the road and the TV revenue and things like that riders now.
There's also this like risk element as well, you know, because you phone up UAE and ask him to send Tadej to come and ride this, and he's worth 9 million quid to us. We're not doing that.
No.
And track cycling was a summer sport up until about 10-12 years ago. You know, the worlds were in the summer.
Yeah.
And so the winter was, you know, road stars could come in and ride in the winter when it was the off-season for the track riders. Whereas now, track cycling has become a winter sport in many ways because the worlds are in March, so the whole preparation sort of goes back to October and September time. So it's hard to get the best riders now when they're in preparation for a
Yes,
World
all
Cup
the
that may
other
be the week
events.
after.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned about when it is. The road season now is so long. You know, people are finishing Lombardy in sort of mid-late October, and they're going to training camp end of November, beginning of December.
Yeah.
So, well, I've got to move house, I've got to get married, I've got to go on holiday or whatever they're doing. There just isn't that time to come and do it, unfortunately. And, you know, there's that fewer events now as well. We're only 3 days, we're not 6 days. I think Ghent is now the only real true 6-day, and Ghent is to 6-day racing what Monaco is to Formula One. People will go to Ghent, whoever's there, you know, the building's falling down, it's 200 years old, but it's Ghent.
What was your least favourite type of racing on the track, or thing you did on the track? The hour, was that the most?
I mean, I
Thing you
did
hated
one,
the
so
most,
it's not,
or?
you know, it's not something that, but I mean, that wasn't pleasant. I enjoyed the training for it, funnily enough.
Okay.
Yeah, just I'd come in empty Velodrome and do half an hour at pace, and I could be away in my own little world. Obviously, something like that, you can't prepare for what it's going to be like on race day. So when I came and did the hour record on race day, you know, the TV, because it was on Sky, so it was pay-per-view on Sky. So I was due to start at 6:30, and TV cameras weren't ready, and all those sort of things that added extra sort of, you know, kind of made it a bit more challenging. And obviously getting up on the track and the building full of people. That day we had the building at 26 degrees. We'd had it all week at 26 degrees because that was the optimal temperature to ride through the air. they didn't account for when you put 5,000 people in here or whatever. It went up to 36 degrees by the end of the hour. So it was just a catalogue of errors, and it was that was probably the least. And plus, it was the performance wasn't great. I think I'd hoped to go a lot further than I did. But the air pressure was the highest it had been in London for 36 years, 1036 millibar, which was like riding through a treacle.
Wow.
And
Because they say at altitude it's easier to get through the air.
Air pressure's lower, so you travel through the air faster.
I see.
But you know, I think people went away happy that day, and it was a great event. And but I was lucky also because I had a lot a leeway to play with. You know, Dowsett I think had gone 52.9 6 weeks before, and I was hoping to go into 56.5. So I had a 4 kilometre to play with. You know, and had he done 54.3 and I was 100 metres ahead of him with 10 minutes to go, that would have been a different ball game. You know, one of the things with the hour record is there's no second place there. You either do it or you fail.
Yeah.
And so that prevents a lot of people taking it on in the first place. Whereas when I took it on, the record would have been back to zero after Boardman's, kind of record that had laid dormant for 20 years.
Wow.
Were you always going to do it here?
I wanted to do it in Manchester.
Right.
Because it was between the Pennines, it was faster. But by then I was being managed by XIX Entertainment, Simon Fuller, and who looked after the Spice Girls and David Beckham. And they wanted to make an event of it, and make money out of it, which they did.
Yeah.
Everyone made money out of that event but me. But I don't, that aside, things for me, I realised the importance of the hour record. I'd watched Chris Boardman do it, Graham O'Brien, Tony Rominger, Miguel Indurain. Miguel Indurain was here in the track centre that day and came trackside afterwards when I broke it. And he was my hero when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's, from me, the fan in me, the event is far more important than the honour of taking the hour record and being on that list was far more important than anything else.
Do you think 60 kilometres is possible one day, or is that
Why not?
just...
I mean, every other event, every other record is being taken in cycling. When you look at the team pursuit now, I think it's 3:38 the world record, 3:39.
Yeah, 3:39.
We broke the Olympic record in 2000 in Sydney. We did 4:01. And 20 years on, it's 21 seconds have come off that.
Yeah,
and you never think it could get any faster, but it does. Bikes evolve, the equipment's evolved. Even 6-day racing now. When me and Cav got second here, now the gears that we were using then compared to the gears they use now, the whole of track cycling is just faster and faster now. To the point where we saw last year in the Track Champions League where someone went over the fence. Because one incident, that's the speed these people are going now. That it catapults you outwards, and that is what makes the spectacle of track cycling. That's what people are going to get here when they're here in October. Regardless of the names that are on the track, we've got the world's best track cyclists here. They might not be household names, the Mark Cavendishes, this world Geraint Thomases, but nonetheless, it is an event not to be missed.
I think, but what Brad was saying there about the team pursuit times, when we were riding on the squad, getting below 4 minutes was the be all and end all.
Right.
If you went below 4 minutes,
Like the 4 minute mile back in the day. That kind of...
absolutely. Yeah. Now, if you over 4 minutes, you're
Well, they're doing it individually now, aren't they?
Yes. Well, they're doing faster than that, aren't they?
3:59, aren't they? Yeah.
Wow.
On their own.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got the British rider that's got second in the individual pursuit last year. He's already confirmed to come, and he's done a 3:59 on his own. Josh Charlton.
Would you ever enjoy like ultra cycling or like bike packing or anything like that? No, you wouldn't want to ride bike for a long time.
No. I mean, the longest I did on a bike was about 16 hours in one go. I did Rafa, Manchester to London when I retired, and I did enjoy that. But it's not something I want to do weekly. No.
One ride a week.
No, I mean, look,
Too much time.
the beauty of track cycling is it's so quantifiable, and you can measure it really well, and you can measure it in terms of how far off the pace you are and what you have to do to close that gap, how you train to the demands of an event to close the gap, whether it was team pursuit, individual pursuit. The Madison racing is a little bit more of a lottery, which is why I enjoyed it. But there's things you can work on in it. But anything longer than that, like the Tour de France, that there's more things that can impact, and there's more that can go wrong, and you need it's a bit of a lottery, and you need a bit of luck on your side. But I liked the process of training to things that you could break down and train to the demands of, so you could see improvement. Because improvement, people say, why what you give advice to kids that get into cycling? That is it. The stock answer for people is, you got to enjoy what you do. I never really enjoyed what I did, but I enjoyed seeing improvement. And that's the thing I realise now, looking back, is seeing improvement in anything you're doing gives you hope and the motivation to carry on doing it. And I enjoyed seeing that, and I enjoyed things that you could measure. And I realise now that that's what I enjoyed about doing, which is why I love the track so much.
Must be cool seeing your son out there too. We
He's great.
Last year, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Is that what he's most focused on then? Track for him?
Well, he loves the
road,
Madison, It's in his roots, Yeah, he was here when I won the Worlds with Cav in 2016, and he's good at it, and he got third last year in this event.
Yeah.
He wanted to ride with Cav last year. I know you were talking to Cav.
We got that close.
And that would have been great to see Cav. I'd raced for Cav, and Ben could have raced for Cav, but wasn't to be. It's Cav's fault.
Sorry, race with Jaco recently as well.
Yeah, he's
So
hoping to
nice
turn
seeing
pro
him
next
start,
year.
That's cool.
So he's with their feeder team at the
Yeah, I
moment.
saw that. Yeah.
Has
So.
he got plans for world tour?
Yeah, no, he'd love to do all that. Yeah, he's on the verge of it right now.
That's what you were saying earlier about World Tour cyclists on the road and the track. It's all part of one now, rather than being two.
Yeah, so we used to ride a lot of the big road events for Great Britain. Great Britain used to have a sort of its own pro team setup, so to speak, and that's gone now, unfortunately. And most of the pro riders drop in for the track. It's like secondary because they're making so much money on the road. The track comes secondary, whereas when we were doing it, it was almost in Britain, especially, it was the other way around, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe Ed Clancy didn't want he just specifically like track pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, but Ed
When he
was
spoke to you.
Ed was a freak of an athlete that was the best in the world for so long at what he did, and he couldn't do anything else outside. I mean, he's a great crit rider.
Yeah.
But Ed was anything longer than an hour. You talk about ultras, Ed couldn't do it. He was just all fast twitch endurance athlete who crossed over into the sprint realms. I mean, his kilometre here at the London Olympics it would have won him a world title at one time, wouldn't it? Yeah. And he almost was this new hybrid kind of sprint endurance athlete that inspired the next generation of team pursuers to the kind of rider they look for a team pursuit now because of the speeds they're riding. So Ed, a remarkable athlete, and
He rode for a German pro team with Landau credit.
He's never really raced that, has he?
No, he rode a lot of the world's biggest
He's
races.
just an absolute
Like
power.
he started Liège-Bastogne-Liège for Landau credit. Ed said, I rode Liège-Bastogne. He never went back to Liège. He got to Bastogne and climbed off.
That'll do.
I'll have to remind him that.
What are you like most proud of in your career?
Most proud of? I don't know, I suppose being part of a generation that inspired, as the reason why most people in this country ride a bike.
Absolutely.
I think, and not just myself, but Sir Chris Hoy, Mark Cavendish, Geraint Thomas, Victoria Pendleton, Lizzie Armistead or Lizzie Digan, Jason Kenny, Laura Kenny. I mean, it was a privilege to be around such a generation of athletes that inspired a country to get on their bikes, really. And we're living. That is the living legacy of the London 2012 Games. Is how we are perceived now as a nation, not just of elite cyclists, but just coming across London. I mean, the amount Richmond Park. We were there the other week, weren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy the amount of people that go around there.
It's like a velodrome itself, isn't it? Just the amount of people. It's nuts.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
This is a really random question, but after you've done like a really hard race or something, what's your favourite post-ride meal when you get home?
Well, we used to have Five Guys. That was the thing. When I did the hour record, I finished the hour record, and they brought Five Guys in. But Five Guys wasn't around much long before that. But yeah, that was kind of towards the end. We were always looking forward to a Five Guys here. Because my kids were really into it then, and that was like the big thing. You have a Five Guys.
Get on board,
My a few years ago, I had testicular cancer,
Yeah.
and getting through that, looking up to like Lance Armstrong, who survived it. Obviously, he gets a lot of stick. He's very controversial or whatever.
Yeah.
But I literally,
Jimmy
yeah. He gave me so much hope that I thought, literally,
Exactly,
if he can do it, then
and that's
I'll
the
be
thing,
fine.
yeah.
But how has your relationship with him been since going through your dark times?
That's good. Say
Really good.
Really good.
Obviously, you're on the move.
Look,
podcast a
Lance
lot.
did what he did, and again, that was 13 years ago now, the whole Oprah thing,
Yeah.
But he's a human being, There's a bit disproportionate to what some people get away with, But, again, people are free to have an opinion on that, how they feel, they do. He's polarising, Lance.
Yeah.
And he's left an open wound in the sport that took a long time to heal.
How has he helped like you over the
He's
last
been fantastic
few
to
years?
me,
Yeah.
He's looked out for me. paid for a lot of my treatment and therapy and things like that. He's inspired me to stop drinking, inspired me, gave me hope, gave me a job, and he's been great. And you can only take people how they treat you. But again, that's not, we just have to put a disclaimer in. It's not to condone everything he did with drugs and stuff. Yeah. But he has a right to live his life, and he's got 5 kids, he's got a wife, and it is what it is. People have the right to feel how they want to feel about him. Yeah.
Feel free to carry on the Q&A with Brad. We've got to let these guys play pickleball. So you can still film and do whatever you want to do, but there's going to be a bit of background noise.
Oh, that's fine.
I didn't notice at the start.
No, you can get Brad to sign your programs or anything
Is that
else.
the new paddle then?
But
That's what I was
this is
asking.
the
I
new.
don't know what it is.
This is the new.
I didn't even know what paddle was.
Yeah.
He's got to be a virgin to play that.
Feel free to carry on. Feel free to carry on.
So before we wrap up, I have to introduce you to Amy. I'm sure you already know her, but what you're doing with the transfers for the Tour de France, it's a lot.
Well, it's a lot, yeah. The men's Tour de France plus the transfers. Not done it yet, so hopefully I can survive.
Of course you will, just like you survived today.
Yeah, well, just about. I got a little bit of the way up.
Yeah,
But,
you did. You were flying.
You're not as good as you, can you?
It's so good to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
And that is it. What a cool morning at the Velodrome with some very awesome people. Bradley was on fire during the question and answer session. I don't know how much of it I'm going to leave in because some of his answers were controversial, but he's so funny. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Track cycling is not for me, and that's okay. I'll stick to the road, but track cycling is incredible to watch other people doing it. So check out London 3-Day. It starts on the 31st of October, like I said. I've got a discount for tickets, so I'll put that in a link down below. And I hope to see you all here. It's going to be really, really fun. I'll also put a link to my video from last year when Rob and I came. But hopefully see you here in October. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the likes and the comments. I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye.